Everyone would certainly like to have at least one eye to look at the realities of some historical era, not to mention the fact that he himself decides the fate of the world in the role of a ruler or military leader. Well, we will not give you a time machine for rent, but we will offer a whole list of the best strategies that can, to some extent, boast historical accuracy and affect different periods of human history. Crusader Kings II is not about distributing land to peasants and building houses for slaves. If you call on your mind and talent as a strategist to help, you will make informed decisions. Almost the entire known world may be in your hands. The bottom line is that you are not acting on behalf of some state, but on behalf of a dynasty. Therefore, by connecting your family members with other powerful people of this world by marriage, you can spread your influence far beyond the borders of your own country. To be successful in Crusader Kings II, you need to take into account a huge number of nuances. For example, the attitude of members of other ruling dynasties towards you. This strategy draws in those who are ready to enthusiastically observe intrigues, coup d'etat, personal relationships of blue-blooded characters, bypassing easy ways. Total War, Shogun II. Projects of the Total War series invariably occupy first places in the tops of historical strategy games. Shogun II tells about the sad Sengoku period in the history of Japan, feudal fragmentation, wars between individual provinces. You will be prompted to choose between Japanese clans, each of which has different advantages, but there are also disadvantages. The gameplay in this part of the series has not undergone major changes. You have to promote technological progress, develop the economy, engage in intelligence activities, solve religious issues, and, of course, fight opponents. The main goal is to unite the disparate provinces into a single state under your command. Company of Heroes. Surely, even those who do not consider Company of Heroes the best RTS based on the Second World War cannot but agree that it still deserves a place in the top. From the very beginning, the game catches with the liveliness of the picture, epic, the adequacy of special effects and atmosphere. As you progress through Company of Heroes, it becomes more and more like Warhammer 40,000, Dawn of War. At the same time, the construction of military camps does not require much effort and expense. Missions please with an abundance of favorite activities, such as sweeping territories, sowing fields with mines. Europa Universalis IV is a godsend for exorbitantly ambitious individuals who dream of deciding the fate of the world. At your disposal will be a whole state with its people, economic and military potential. Your job is to make the best use of the opportunity. War here is by no means the most important occupation. It is beneficial only to the one who unleashed it. It just doesn't make sense to attack your neighbor out of boredom. With the simulation of the economy, foreign and domestic policy is implemented at the highest level. You will have to monitor a bunch of indicators to ensure stability and contentment for the people. You can set a lot of goals for yourself. If you want, scare your neighbors with military power. If you want, develop trade and conquer everyone with coins, or if you want, go to conquer the new world. Civilization V. What does civilization do among historical strategies, you ask? The question is quite natural, given that not a single game in this series claims to be historic. However, what we now read in textbooks is the result of a combination of certain circumstances, decisions made by the powerful of this world, and various social processes. And everything could have been different. Civilization is a turn-based strategy legend on PC that invites you to take the reins of power, travel with your people from the beginning of time, and even look into the future. Of the innovations in the fifth part of the series, it is worth noting the appearance of city-states that threaten civilization with disasters, the possibility of remote shelling of the enemy, the absence of religion and espionage, and the simplification of the technology tree. Ultimate General, Civil War. Despite the unusual setting of the American Civil War and the relative obscurity of the Game Labs LLC studio that created Ultimate General, this project is worth paying attention to all connoisseurs of the strategic genre. The fact is that the leading game designer of this war game was the famous mod maker Nick Tomatis, who had previously been developing a series of Darth Mod mods for the Total War franchise. An interesting feature of the project is the ability to command your troops at different levels. The degree of control ranges from micromanaging, where you can give a command to each soldier, to drawing arrows for planned maneuvers on headquarters map. The Guild 2 is like The Sims, only medieval. Of course, there is The Sims Medieval. But in the Guild, there are more opportunities and everything looks quite historical. So first you have to create a character. The appearance settings in the game are flexible, which again evokes associations with The Sims. You'll also need to decide who your parents were, because the bloodline will affect your life and the lives of the heirs, and decide what you would like to do during this turbulent period of human history. The choice can be difficult, because the whole range of medieval activities will open before you. You have to develop your business, improve your skills, start a family, so that there is someone to pass on the inheritance to, because the Guild 2 characters die like ordinary people. Anno 1404. Despite the fact that historical accuracy was not the primary goal of the developers, the plot of Anno 1404 is based on very real historical events and the transformations of medieval society. You have to create developed settlements from almost nothing, ensure the safety of your people, wage wars of conquest in general, do everything that is supposed to be the ruler. With a variety of activities and interesting missions, the developers also managed to make the game really beautiful and pleasing to the eye. Total War, Three Kingdoms. For China, the Age of the Three Kingdoms is important primarily because it ended with the first ever unification of the disparate lands of the Celestial Empire under the rule of one state. So the appearance of a game dedicated to these events in the Total War series was only a matter of time. The main difference between Total War Three Kingdoms was the appearance of a special romantic mode, in which the heroes of the classic Chinese novel Three Kingdoms appear in the story campaign as uber generals, capable of taking out entire armies alone. Another innovation is that each general here has its own character and is even able to enter into different relationships with the characters encountered during the game. Age of Empires II. Most RTS with a medieval setting are inevitably compared to Age of Empires, a legend of the genre after all. Age of Empires II invites us to follow the path of great conquerors, start building a powerful empire together with Genghis Khan, crush the British in the image of Joan of Arc, fight for the independence of Scotland with William Wallace, fight the Crusaders on behalf of Saladin. The Conquerors add-on opens new campaigns for Attila, Montezuma, and El Cid, single missions dedicated to real great battles, as well as the life of the famous Eric the Red, the founder of the first settlement in Greenland and the father of the discoverers of America. Aggressors, Ancient Rome. In this turn-based 4X strategy set in ancient Rome, you can lead one of the 20 available factions, from nomadic barbarians to mighty empires, and try to lead them to dominate the Mediterranean. The game differs from its analogs in its emphasis on history and a well-thought-out combat system, in which not only the number of fighters in the army plays an important role, but also their experience, morale, supply logistics, and the balance of military branches. To win, you will have to pay equal attention to different aspects of the life of your empire: science, economy, diplomacy, and, of course, the development of the army. Ancestors' Legacy. Despite the typical medieval setting, the creation of the Polish studio Destructive Creations differs markedly from other similar RTS. The most important difference is realism, because the appearance, weapons, armor, and even tactics of all units presented in the game were created on the basis of real historical sources. At the same time, the developers tried to convey all the cruelty of that era, so the game is very bloody, and there can be no talk of any knightly nobility here. The four factions represented in the game, Anglo-Saxons, Germans, Vikings, and Slavs, sincerely hate each other and, if possible, strive to inflict the most painful death on their opponents. Hearts of Iron IV. The Second World War is one of the most terrible and tragic chapters in the history of mankind. Naturally, it inspired and continues to inspire developers of global strategies. The main events that led to the war, the largest battles and significant personalities, are probably known even to a schoolboy who listened to the teacher half-heartedly. But those who delved into the works of historians not out of coercion, but out of sincere interest, probably thought about what would have happened if the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact had not been signed, And what if the leading European powers are drawn into the Soviet Union? How will the course of history change if Mercator never kills Trotsky? Despite the fact that Hearts of Iron 4 invites you to create an alternative history, all scenarios are not baseless fantasies. By launching Caesar 4, you will find out what it was like for Roman governors, whom the emperors sent to the backwoods in order to turn meadows and fields into prosperous cities. This is exactly what your responsibilities will be. We'll have to build houses for the plebeians and colosseums for the patricians. In general, to satisfy the needs of different classes, giving them all the charms of ancient life. Having provided the people with bread and circuses, you can play war with the barbarians. Side missions add variety to the gameplay, such as making Sardinia the main supplier of fish to the entire empire. If your favorite game is not included in this list, write in the comments. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel, watch our other videos, press like, turn on notifications, and you will always be aware of what to play today.